Salutations readers, welcome to my channel, and this is a 2026 reading journal setup. As y'all can see here, this is a Typho C 8x8 square Moonlight Melody notebook in dark green. I saw this on their website and I knew that I just had to have this notebook in this colorway because I love green and a square just to have a new design. Now, I think that's all the preamble I have for y'all on the notebook itself, and let's actually just get right into the setup. Now, when I first got the notebook, I decided to just put in my name and started getting all these stickers that I actually got from Arch and Olive in the digital sticker collection. I don't think any of these stickers are really available now, but if they are, I will link it in the video description down below. But I just got really excited and started just setting up my name page, and then I had this awkward page where I decided to just add some washi tape and this nice print from Sabeline, I think. I will link their Instagram in the video description down below for this art. And then, of course, I have a grid spacing guide since I haven't really used a square notebook in like forever. So let's get right into actually the main setup. Now, in this initial page right here, I decided to just have the print again. I got in the awkward page and then a quote page as well, including from our Abbott Elementary. Now, the quote reads, "I've got a PhD in getting through a day without losing my mind" by Mrs. Howard. And then I have one from Mr. Edie. "It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent." I decided to use these quotes actually because, well, honestly, first of all, I love Abbott Elementary, my favorite sitcom show as of right now. And I just decided, like, you know what? I think that's just a perfect way just to, like, put in some energy into this reading journal since I also like to watch movies and TV shows as well. Next up, we have the reading intentions index and also just a TBR page. So right now I'm just quickly doing the index, just very simple here. I didn't particularly love using my index in my previous reading journal, but I decided to just keep one anyways for this 2026 reading journal since this particular notebook actually has numbered pages. So I think having an index would be really nice, and also so that I can always remember where do I keep all my monthly setups, readathons, reading stats, and then also some other maybe like year-long challenges if I move them from one page to another. And then for my reading intentions, I also made sure to have just a little bit of that space since I don't need that much space for my index. I figured why not use the other half of that page just for my reading intentions / reading goals. And of course, I like to use second line highlights for all of this because, you know, why not add some depth and dimension here and some color. And as far as my to be read, this is just more general, whether that can be like a series or just an individual book, a classic or whatever. Just not so much. I don't want to put too much space into all these things. I don't want to like any book covers. Just list it out, make it very simple. And of course, second line highlights. And I will also put down in the video description the colors that I've used for these Tombow brush pens if you were ever curious about the colors. And now we have finally moved on to the rating scale, which is actually courtesy of G from Book Roast. This is the Cawpile rating scale. Now, I have used Cawpile sporadically in 2025. I haven't really used it quite as avidly as I would have liked to in my reading journal. A part of it in 2025 was use of it, and I think in the beginning, but then as time went on, I started to use Cawpile a little bit less. But I just think that I just didn't like how I included the Cawpile rating system in that reading journal. So in 2026, I decided to go something a little bit different. First of all, I wanted to have a dedicated page where I actually explain how to actually like use it, since I tend to always forget quite how to use it. So if you're ever curious, I think she has a video about how she uses this rating scale, but I'm going to explain it kind of a little bit differently. So Cawpile is a 7-letter acronym that's where you pretty much rate everything, where you rate the book based on characters, atmosphere, writing, plot, intrigue, logic, or enjoyment if it's fiction, or credibility, authenticity, writing, personal impact, intrigue, logic, and enjoyment, as well for nonfiction. So you just rate those based on where you rate the letters for each book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, on a scale of 1 to 10, and you average it out of 70, and whatever that number you get, it correlates, it's assigned to a numbered rating. Now, I also do include as well what those numbers mean, as far as like what does a 10 mean versus like a 5 or even a 7 or even a 1. It's going to be here in this video a little bit as well. And then also I make sure that like the averages that I get from each book, I also included what those average numbers would mean as far as a star reading as well, because I know I'm gonna forget, okay? Even though I've been using Cawpile for, I don't know, a little bit over throughout in 2025 in a digital space, I decided to put it in a paper space because, like, I'm not gonna remember what this stuff really means. So I need to make sure that I knew what 10 out of 10 versus like a 7 or a 5 or a 2 or a 1 means, and then of course, you know, what each of the averages really mean as well. So, if any of y'all are curious about this, because I also want to make sure that half stars were included and I knew where the half stars are, since I also do use quarter and 3/4 stars. I need to know where the half stars are. So I make sure I include that in the actual rating scale page as well. So I hope this information is actually helpful for anyone else who also uses Compile. So yeah, I hope this is just a very helpful page. Now, also, though, there's a little bit of a time skip here because camera battery died, and also I included some more stickers. But yeah, I also did make my own Compile rating stickers as well because, well, I want to make sure I actually included that stuff and there's an actual space for it. So let's actually now get into the next page, which is where I show y'all my anticipated releases spread. So ideally, some of y'all, if you have not checked it out already, I have posted a video where I talked about 32 books I'm looking forward to reading in 2026. So honestly, this is just a representation of that in my reading journal. So I decided to kind of make this like horizontal Dutch door kind of spread to include all the book covers. Now, in this video, I will not actually be gluing down any of the book covers. I didn't really print the book covers for this video, but I just wanted to set it up so that when I did actually officially finalize my 32 books I was looking forward to reading in 2026, I could actually put that on here. So you have to wait for like future reading journal videos to see how this spread actually looks like with all the book covers. But for right now, I'm just make sure that everything's been outlined. I have some highlights and put some stickers on here so that y'all can have a really nice, pretty looking spread to look at. And also for myself, I do also know though that the dates for these books can easily change. So another part of it for me with this spread is that I don't include any of the actual release dates until, well, the books are officially released. So that just in case for some reason any of the books that I was anticipating in that anticipated releases video end up just getting pushed back to like, I don't know, 2027 for some reason, then at least I didn't put in the wrong date in my reading journal. Okay, I just hate that. I hate it when it gets pushed back and you don't know about it. Now, another thing too, though, with this Dutch door is that I didn't like how sharp the edge was. So just really soon, you all see me use a corner puncher that I got from, what was it, Journal Say? Yeah, I think I got it from Journal Say, which is going to be linked in the video description down below if you're curious about the tool itself. If you want to use such a tool, I like it. It's very, very handy and makes the corners look very, very nice. I would also like to make a note that this sticker sheets that I have right here is courtesy of Sticky Club, but specifically their Halloween Advent, and unfortunately that Advent calendar has been sold out for a while now, so you cannot get those stickers at all. But I will be linking Sticky Club in the video description down below. Now that this spread is complete, we shall move on to the next stage, and that is my physical TBR. I actually really liked having a physical TBR page or slash spread in my reading journal from 2025, so I carried it over actually to 2026. Now, thankfully, I have managed to read or just straight up unhauled more books from physical TBR, so I don't actually need to create as many, bookshelves and books within the bookshelves unlike I did in 2025. But regardless, I want to make sure there was enough room to actually write out the titles, because one thing I did not like from my 2025 reading journal is that there was not enough space to actually write out the titles. So since I do not have as many books in my physical TBR as I did in the beginning of 2025 to the beginning of 2026, I was just really glad that I was able to just narrow everything down into just a little bit smaller bookcase. And as far as any color coding, I don't think I'm going to color code anything as much. I think it's just a matter of like, hey, did I actually read it? Did I unhaul it? Did I DNF it? Stuff like that, or does it remain as, unread? But for the most part, I think I'm going to keep the color coding just very, very simple. I don't know actually what those colors are going to be just yet. That's another thing, again, I didn't think about while I was recording this, not gonna lie. But you know what, that's fine. You live and learn. Things you just figure out in hindsight, okay? which is pretty much where I just continue on the Reddit fantasy book bingo from 2025 to 2026. Not gonna lie, this bingo board is almost blacked out, so a part of me was not even sure if I should even include this into my 2026 reading journal, but I know I'm not gonna black it out before 2026 started, so I figured, might as well just carry this over. Besides, the bingo board is until March 31st, 2026 anyway, so I figured I'll just carry it over. Now, I won't actually write out what the actual bingo scores are. That's going to be a later thing. But for right now, I just wanted to decorate it. I felt kind of like I shouldn't have decorated too much. I did like this potion bottle, like wide washi tape I put in the bottom here, but I put some washi tape on the side of the bingo square, and not gonna lie, I don't particularly really like it. I kind of wish I could have just pulled it off, but it's a little bit too late for that now. You know, you live and learn, right, with gardening, over decoration, under decoration. But yeah, I think I over decorated the page here. It was just a bit much, especially with the kind of washi tape that is. It was just doing too much. But again, you live and you learn. Now, this half page here, I've actually already kind of talked about it in also another recent video where I was planning my reading for 2026, and that is my self-destruct TBR. I only have, again, I think I've been doing this since I think, what was it, 2023 or something? I don't know. I just remember something about 2023, 2024, or was it just 2024 or 2025? I generally do not remember. All I remember is that I have like 6 books where I kind of like tell myself like, hey, read these books by the end of the year or they gotta go. And haven't been consistent with that? Honestly, no. Another thing I've also been kind of inconsistent about is my recommendations to my friends. I have to say, in previous years, they have not been really great as far as me actually reading these recommendations. But in 2025, I've actually been pretty much on top of it for the most part. I think there's only one that I DNF'd straight up, but I've read every single other book except for just one more book. I think that's just going to be a carryover to 2026, so it is what it is. But I did want to add in a little bit more highlights here, and I am looking forward. I also would love some more recommendations by friends as well. I think I will go to Instagram, though, for that, just to help collect all that data. So yeah, but check out my Instagram if you want to be included as far as some recommendations by friends. Now this next page here is my DNF Graveyard, or did not finish Graveyard. I do DNF a lot, and I mean a lot. I think actually 2025 is the year I have DNF'd the most so far as like actually tracking that number. So I decided to just have that represented actually in my reading journal. Now I think there's only enough of like 35 books because I've just decided to just draw some like grave headstones, and that for each book that I seriously have DNF'd, I'm just going to put them here. Now I'm not going to put every single DNF. Hopefully I don't DNF more than 35, but then again, what do I know? Because 2026 is wide open. I mean, I cannot make any promises for myself. So who knows how many books I'll actually manage to DNF. But if I have like 35 books for sure, like by the end of the year, then I'm like, oh yeah, these are like the books I had to DNF. Like I do not plan on coming back to kind of DNF. It will go into this graveyard. And right underneath each headstone, I will also put in like a progress, like, oh, this is how far I've gone into the book before I DNF'd it. So yeah, I just figured just give a little place just for a physical representation and not too much. I don't want to like put book covers or anything because who's trying to print all that for books I didn't even finish? They don't deserve to even have their covers on the reading journal. Okay, like what are we doing? Now let's move on to the next spread, which is my series tracker. I've actually have been kind of hit or miss with series, actually, in the past couple of years. I have started more series, continued in series, DNF series, but it's actually rare for me to even finish series. So for this series tracker, I decided to go something a little bit different, where I pretty much make it a bookshelfy kind of way as far as for each series. So that way I can just make like a stack of books for any series that I'm actively continuing on in. Now, if I end up DNFing the series, I actually don't even know, actually. I think I generally would just put in books that I actually know I'm going to continue in. If I end up DNFing it, well, I don't know, actually. I really did not think this through if I ended up DNFing the series and put it in the tracker. So, that's something for future me to figure out. So, yeah, we'll worry about that later. But for this next tracker is the Advanced Copies Tracker. Now, I know in 2026, I told myself that I needed to give myself just less to worry about. However, one thing I know about myself is that I like to request books. So I decided to just create a space where if I ever, requested any ARCs or advanced lip syncing copies as well, I have a space to represent that, hey, remember that, you requested this book and that you were approved of it and then you still got to review it. I like to put in my reading journal. It actually really helps me to know, like, hey, I got to, like, read these books and, like, review them, at least something, Ideally before the end of the year. That's the idea. I don't like having carryovers from previous years, especially as arcs that I did not read or review yet. Not gonna lie, it's getting kind of close for me in 2025, but this is just a physical representation. Hopefully I do not need all this space. Let's be for real, that's a lot of space, especially for 2026, but you never know. Honestly, I requested a lot more books in 2025 than I really expected, but it is what it is. And now in this section here, we're actually working on a book matrix. Now this is actually something that I was introduced to, I think by Jashi Corinne. She liked to use something that's not like a book bracket where you very much, just try to have all the books battling each other and you have your number one book, but really each book only gets like one chance against a different book. But at least with the book matrix, it actually goes by priority. So each book actually battles with each other. So I'm just going to pick up like 10 books that I think are like the top actually of like 2026 and make sure they battle all of it out. So what it works is that each book here is designated to a letter. And each of those books is going to go against each other. So I like A versus B, who's going to win? Maybe it's A or B. A versus C, B versus C, C, D, B, D, A, D, so on and so forth. And then I count how many times I have chosen that letter / book and then the little table there. And whatever is the most is pretty much how I'm going to rank like my top books of 2026. This is something new. I've actually learned that I just don't like the book bracket method. It's just not conducive to actually how I would like to rank books, even though I don't usually want to rank books. But if I was going to rank books, I think this is the best way to do it. And I just like it that, well, it's just something for me to try, just for me to try something new, because I really do like trying new things. And I figured, you know what, why not use my reading journal for that? So I'll make sure that there's room actually for the book covers for each one of those books, because hey, if you're in the top 10, you deserve to have a spot, to be printed, okay? And the last but not least looking spread here is actually my book clubs and buddy reads tracker. So I do want to participate in book club discussions and participate in buddy reads. I like engaging with other readers into just reading whatever books we're feeling like to read. So I wanted to just dedicate a space for that. So I did make sure there's some space for like 12 months of the year as far as like book club picks, if there's any various book clubs, and there's maybe each month I find like a book I'm actually interested in reading in a book club, there's space for that. Or maybe there's multiple book clubs and some months I'm interested in the book club pick, and other months not so much, but there's still room for that. Even have room for the buddy reads in case I have more buddy reads, but there's just room for basically I think like 18 books. So whichever one is a book club or a buddy read, literally whichever one comes in first, I just want to make sure that there's just space for me to dedicate that. Like, hey, I'm participating in this book club or I'm participating in this buddy read, and there's just room for that. So making sure that there's room there, and I'm adding in some more highlights and decoration as well, just to fill up some of the blank space there. Now, I did leave some extra blank spreads here just in case I have any last minute ideas for this reading journal, which I actually have. I did actually fulfill this entire spread actually, and unfortunately we will not know what that is until pretty much sometime in 2026 where I show y'all more of my reading journal. And that is the end of the 2026 reading journal setup. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed even making it. It definitely took me a while to even make it, not gonna lie, but I was just having a lot of fun and I really liked all the spreads. I'm very satisfied. I am hopeful to make some more spreads, which yes, I know it's not gonna be included in the video itself, but I like to include just a few more spreads. We'll see about 2026 as far as the frequency of 2026 reading journal videos, but for right now, let's just say this is the start of future reading journal videos. At least I hope to make more in the future. We shall see. Again, though, thank you all for watching this video. Like it if you like it. Comment down below. Have y'all made your own reading journal setups already? Or are you using a pre-printed? I don't know. Just let me know if you're using a reading journal, whether it's DIY or pre-printed. Also, what company do you usually rely on as far as your journals? It used to be Archer and All for me, but I'm leaving more TFOC. I will link their website in the video description down below. Also, if you like this video, you like my vibe, and you're curious to see more videos from me in the future, I do recommend subscribing if you have not done so already. and you made it this far into the video, you're not sure what to say, but you would like to leave me an emoji just to let me know that you are here, you gotta leave me a bird emoji and or some sort of flower emoji down in the comments, okay? Anyways, again, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye!